I received a quest asking me to promote the newest DLC of Atomic Heart, Trapped in Limbo. In the game, you essentially glide across platforms, collecting apples, which you use to buy new skills and weapons, and fight enemies like this, which by the way is what I'm going to be making today. The thing I'm making today is based on a character called Kolobok from a East-Slavic fairy tale of the same name. In this story, old men and women who makes Kolobok are very poor, and it also says that Kolobok is made with the very last food they scraped from the flower box. So I decided to make the core of this monster with a really basic form of bread which only uses 4 ingredients: water, yeast, flour, and lastly salt. You don't even need to knead the dough, just add everything into a bowl and mix well with a spoon until well combined. Once the dough forms, cover and let it rise until it doubles. It should take around an hour, so in the meantime let's make the outer shell. Kolobok is often represented as this round bun in the story, but in the game it kinda looks like a walnut, right? So I decided to make the outer shell with shortbread cookies, just like an Eastern European walnut-shaped cookie, Oreshki. Oreshki is also filled with a Dulce De Leche filling, and I'm gonna make that too later and use it as glue to stick the shell onto the core. I would normally use double the amount of baking soda, but because I don't want my shortbread to rise too much and ruin the shape when I bake it, I'm only using a 1/4 teaspoon. You need to make sure that the butter is at room temperature, because if it isn't, it's gonna be very difficult to mix. Just keep mixing until it eventually forms a nice dough like this. I couldn't exactly find the mold with the pattern I wanted, so I had to improvise and use the outer surface of this cake pan to make a walnut-shaped shell. On my first attempt, I drew the pattern a bit too deep into the dough and it cracked when I tried to remove it from the pan, so I made sure I didn't make the same mistake twice. Bake at 180 degrees Celsius or 356 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 to 20 minutes or until golden brown. Outer shells are ready and it's time to make the glue. Oreshki filling usually has more walnuts in it, but I'm only adding a handful so that it stays sticky. It does look a bit unappetizing, I know, but it actually tastes quite pleasant and it'll get the job done. The dough should have doubled by now. Again, there's no need to knead, just remove gas and split it into 2 equal parts. I'm basically trying to bake 2 hemispheres and put them together to form a sphere. Allow it to rest for 30 minutes. I'm doing this to basically force the bread to bake into a hemisphere rather than a round bun. Bake at 190 degrees Celsius or 374 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 minutes. Now that I have everything I need, I just need to put it all together. I had to really be careful not to apply too much pressure because the outer shell is quite brittle and I really didn't want to try this again, as this was my 3rd attempt already. All that's left to do is to decorate it using modeling chocolate. The DLC has been out for almost a week now, so those of you who played it will probably know that this monster is actually called the Gingerbread Man in the English version. But when you consider that Atomic Heart is based on an alternate history in which the Soviet Union experiences a tech boom, I think it's more convincing to say that the real name is Kolobok and it's only translated to Gingerbread Man in languages other than Slavic languages due to how similar the 2 stories are, not because it's actually made out of gingerbread. In the story, they both run away from their creators and all the other animals who tries to eat it, but at the end gets eaten by a sly fox. Isn't that really interesting? I feel like the game becomes way more interesting once you do a bit of research into its background. Anyways, Trapped in Limbo, the second DLC for Atomic Heart, is available now on PS4, 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and PC, and for those of you who are interested, you can check it out by clicking on the link in the video description. That's it for today's quest, and see you in the next one.